Anyone hearing any common themes? Okay. So this session, we're going to be talking a lot about culture. And when I listen to those respective speakers speak, I hear some common themes around what sort of themes. What do you think? We've been some common themes this morning. Values? Okay, what about them? What about values? You've got to have them, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, a team is always going to have values, but are they the values that you want? Because values will either make your season and your team a success, or they will completely perhaps undermine what you want to achieve. You know, values are always positive and life-affirming, but not everyone has the same set of values. If you don't have the same set of values, you're literally not on the same page. It's one of the big things we're going to chat about. What else? Another common theme?
Goals.
You've got to have goals. Okay? Absolutely. We're going to have a chat about that. And what sort of goals are you going to actually set? Because they define everything. They define the standards that you're willing to accept as a team. Any other common things?
Family support.
Yep. Family. Okay. Let's just wrap it all up and say it's all about these things. It's all about the people. You know, one of the most important lessons that I learned when I was an athlete at the time, I was rowing for a club in Sydney called UTS Haberfield. And in 1993, our club was just called Haberfield Rowing Club. I wasn't part of it back then. The first year that I was part of Haberfield Rowing Club was in 1996, after I won my first Olympic medal with the coach, the head coach of the UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. In 1993, the club was bankrupt. We had a restaurant upstairs and some strange things were going on with the funds that came from the restaurant. They were basically being siphoned out of the business. So the club went bankrupt. Now, the coach at the time, well, they didn't really have a coach. There was no head coach. There was no real leadership within the actual club itself. UTS, University of Technology Sydney, where I did my study, they took over the club. And as part of taking over the club, as well as renovating the facilities, they spent about $1 million renovating the club. Building in downstairs, creating more space for the equipment, the boats. But the most important thing that they did at the time was they recruited a coach by the name of Tim McLaren. Now Tim had just coached the Olympic gold medal men's double scull for Australia at the Barcelona Olympics, which was my first Olympic experience. And it was one of the greatest gold medals Australia has ever won. The Awesome Foursome went out the next day and won the gold medal as well. But Tim's crew, the men's double scull, was the first crew gold medal that Australia had ever won in Olympic history. We've been to all the Olympics. And what made this event such a unique, achievement for Australia was the two guys that Tim coached. They were guys who weren't much bigger than what we would consider to be the size of a halfback in rugby league. They were maximum 5'9", 72, 74 kilos. And they raced guys who are my size, so I'm 2 metres tall and 100 kilos or a bit more. And so, you know, you'll see the finish on the podium there, and you've got the guys with their arms up over the seconds, the silver medalists and the bronze medalists on the other side. So it's a phenomenal victory for Australia. So Tim got recruited to UTS back in 1993. As I said, at the time they spent about $1 million basically renovating their facility. Now at the same time, Princeton Rowing Club over in New Jersey, Princeton University, they renovated their facility as well. Now keep in mind that they have already got their own private lake. Their own private lake, right? It was donated to them back in the 30s by the Carnegie family. And you know, their facility was already pretty good. It's a pretty significant facility. It's where the US Olympic team trains. Now, they renovated at the same time we did. We spent $1 million. Hands up, who knows how much they spent? Guesses? 10 million? More? Okay, and we're talking Australian dollars here. So yeah, more than 10 million? 20 million Australian. 14 million US at the time. As I said, they already had their own private lake. Now, from that renovation in 93, when Tim started at UTS, at the time that he retired from UTS, he's now the head coach of US Rowing. 2005, when he left, we had more athletes selected on from our club. We were the most successful club in the world. We had more athletes selected on Olympic teams winning Olympic medals than any other club in the world. We had more than 30 athletes selected, guys who have just joined the sport for the first time, taught to row, become Olympians, winning Olympic medals. More than Princeton. Princeton had about half that number. And so there's a really big message that comes through that is all about who? People. It's all about the people. You know, and stemming from that, you have such things as quality leadership. And without that quality leadership from a coaching perspective, you're just not going to get to where you hopefully would like to go. Okay, coaches have a vision for what they want to achieve. It's a lot of what we're talking about today, because with that quality leadership, okay, that basically translated into a high performance culture. And that culture stayed part of the club for all of the years that I was there, and I retired from there back in 2004 at the end of the Athens Olympics, when we won another bronze medal. Okay? Now the club's not the same today, because the leadership's not the same. It's a little bit different. Okay? So today we're talking about these key things, and hopefully, as well as some of the key principles that the previous speakers have spoken about today, hopefully this gives even more structure so that you can strategically create the type of culture that you want to create.